So I write a blog series for Family Theater Productions called Based On, and it basically is an essay, not quite a review, but considers the source material that becomes a TV series or film show, or a film, excuse me, and then how well that adaptation process goes through, how well the filmmakers adapt the source material. Can You Ever Forgive Me will win Best Adapted Screenplay because I have one criteria is, there's that one adage, the book's better than the movie, or, if you saw the movie, go back and watch the book. But if you're really adapting it, is the movie an improvement on the source material that it was based on? And I think with the life of Lee Israel, a writer who wrote on some obscure topics that got some acclaim and positive critical reviews. Her career was a little bit stalled out, and so the story about it is how she forges correspondence between famous writers and maybe the love of their life or relatives or a colleague or what have you. And in the memoir, as you read it, she's very unrepentant and kind of a miserable person. God bless her. But with Melissa McCarthy, if you're going to sit through the movie for 2 hours, it has to be somewhat palatable. And I think she shows you the Lee Israel's humanity, and maybe at the core of her, it may be beyond what a person's own view about themselves. She inhabited the role, certainly, but had an objective to be like, well, maybe even the real life person didn't realize, like, at the core, I think there's probably a good person in there. I think Melissa McCarthy found it, and it was kind of a delightful little film that's deserving of the best adapted screenplay, as it was a upgrade to the memoir. My personal choice for best adapted screenplay, I did love Can You Ever Forgive Me? I also thought, although not based on a book, A Star Is Born. Again, this is the fourth iteration of this story, and it's hard to explain why I liked it without ruining the ending. So what happens at the end is very clear, and it seemed like, okay, let's take these two characters in terms of Lady Gaga, the up-and-coming singer, and then Bradley Cooper, the country star was really good and had stardom, but his star is fading, but he can still be a good mentor for her. And so it makes it more believable, the path, kind of the tragic path he takes. But even through his own sinfulness and brokenness, he can still be a vehicle and conduit for grace and for giving confidence to Lady Gaga's character that, yeah, you're a good singer and personality and have a look for it, and you have to let that star shine, so to speak. Out of the ones nominated Best Adapted Screenplay, the one that had the most spiritual resonance, I actually thought was Can You Ever Forgive Me? Obviously, the title's a little on the nose, but it's easy to forgive, I don't know, if your child causes an accident, or you bump into someone, or someone cuts you off, I don't know, on the freeway. Those are kind of easy and you kind of forget about it. But to take someone that's relatively unrepentant, kind of a miserable, like a bit of a crank, and it may just be that little bit where they don't even ask for your forgiveness, but maybe phrase it in a way that is, but they can't quite come up with those words that the title of the movie kind of almost ironically is. Those are where, as Christians, we have to kind of extend mercy. It's just that little bit of repentance, even if it's not formalized in the language that we know. If you can sense it, then just be a person to offer mercy. I know there's judgment with that as well, but the world does a lot of that, and it's a part and parcel of forgiveness as well. But to be a vessel of mercy, I think was a great message. The film that I thought was missing from Best Adapted Screenplay, again, it ended up being one of my favorite movies, so Mary Poppins. That was based, I believe, on an original Disney story, or is that on a book? I'm gonna have to look it up. Regardless, it's a sequel, and I thought that was an upgrade from a very like classic movie that I've seen maybe once. I don't know if I watched the original again, but I definitely watched the second Mary Poppins movie. And even if I picked up on looking at the color scheme, and at the end, each person has, as they ascend to the sky and sing their song, they kind of have their own personalized balloon. And it's very interesting that Mary Poppins is, while she wears blue, her balloon is red. And that's, if you know your iconography, that's usually Mary's in blue and then Christ wears red. And I don't think that was accidental. It's, again, as I mentioned, I think it's a overused term to say the book or the source material is better than the movie. I think that's kind of a cop-out for both. You really have to consider both, and in some cases, the movie's sometimes infinitely better.